Who's ready for a boss fight with severely limited movement?
No, but I want to hear more about Jessica Jones in the bathroom.
Off call.
We were just talking about
Not
Star
like
Wars.
that, you pervs.
We were just talking about Star Wars toys before that, and the moment the camera shifted to look at this big superstructure, for a moment it looked like a giant X-wing toy. I'm like, okay, wow, that's random.
Yeah, it's a giant flower thing on this tube. We have to kill all the other flowers, and then it'll open up the boss. Great. It's very dumb, it's very annoying, and you have very limited resources because the cat is sick.
Yeah, this kind of seems like a bit of a headache. Like, I understand why they do it. These kind of limit your power shakeups are effective when they're used effectively, anyway.
And I just fell right off.
That could have gone better.
You should have like 3rd-degree burn marks on your head.
It's kind of like rug burn, except it comes from rusty metal, which is rusty metal and concrete. I think it's both, actually.
Do they have tetanus shots in Gravity Land? Because she needs like 6 now.
Like, we're going to Gravity Land.
My gravity action figure.
Do they pull anything like this in Gravity Rush 2?
No, thankfully.
Okay. And that one's
Gravity
generally considered the better game, right?
Well, it's a.
Oh, you missed!
Yeah.
No!
Now I gotta go all the way back up.
Not only are we limited by, our PS Vita origins, we also have a lot of first game and series problems here. Which, are the kind of problems you generally sort of forgive because, it's a new game, new idea, first attempt, so...
Honestly, I don't know how much you guys fall into this, but I'm generally willing to cut a game a lot of slack on lack of polish if the idea is interesting and fun, / is not something that I can get in any other kind of game, Like,
so... That's basically me and Mirror's Edge.
Yeah, basically. Like, that's like Trauma Center, for example. That game has a lot of problems, presentation-wise, difficulty balancing, all sorts of crap.
Yeah,
but
but
it's unique, so I tend to give it a lot of slack.
On those same score, though, like you tend to be a little less forgiving of those same kind of problems in a game like Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Oh yeah, if the sequel. If it does get a sequel, you tend to expect those things to be ironed out. And if not, it depends on how... Like, I guess it depends on how much they try to evolve the concept at the same time. Because if they're adding, like, a different layer of, oh man, this is new and unique, then, you can cut them some slack on the wonky parts of the new and unique stuff. But maybe, the old stuff, it would be nice if they polished that too. I guess... Yeah. It's a case-by-case thing. But wasn't Catalyst okay, though, for Mirror's Edge?
It's not like it's a terrible game, but it kind of misses the point of a lot of things for Mirror's Edge. Because it's like a hub world, open world thing with missions and stuff, and it's like, yeah, that kind of wasn't the point.
That sounds like they might have taken some inspiration from the scrapped Prey 2. Which
was that also an EA game?
No. Okay, let's.
Where do I?
I'm not even gonna go into it. Hayden, Hyperbit Hero, did a wonderful video about the garbage fire that was the development of the scrapped sequel to the original Prey, which was supposed to be this bounty hunting sandbox first-person game with a lot of cool-looking mobility mechanics, and. Oh god, that game looks so. The game still looks great by today's standards. Like if they were to have announced a game exactly this year, everyone would have been over the moon for it. So, but it was corporate fuckery that kind of led to it. I think it was
Oh wow, who's surprised?
I think
by that?
It was a Bethesda thing, if memory serves. I don't remember clearly. So if I tried telling the story, I'd probably fuck it up. But it's one of those major. The publisher fucked with the developers. Apparently, the publisher was trying to absorb the developer, like properly gain ownership of them, and was allegedly and it's convincing considering how this all played out. Allegedly screwing around with like deadlines and stuff to try and provoke a situation where they would get what they wanted, which is probably why I'm thinking Bethesda, because they pulled that kind of shit with New Vegas. But
Oh, now you cough it up, you
Cat,
stupid cat.
I don't feel too good.
Oh, now you're okay. You could have done that 5
Yeah, I was
minutes.
gonna say your cat seemed to be doing fine before you were able to do your
you know,
Sailor
if
Moon
you had
ass
just
super
waited
attack.
a little while at the beginning of the level, maybe burped your cat like a baby, it would have puked over your
So
shoulder.
you don't even have to do. Wait, so you don't even have to do anything to make the cat better? It just.
Nope,
gets...
it's just better now.
Oh god, I hate when games do that kind of crap.
Hey,
Where it's like you don't actually. It's just like, oh, we're gonna make up an excuse in order to do a gameplay thing, and we're gonna tie it into the story, but then the thing solves itself because we don't want to commit to it. We just want to. Oh god, I hate that crap.
Surprise, the boss isn't dead yet.
oh boy.
Well, I mean, they.
Well, you know-
like I mean, the idea of like climbing up a tower with the gravity stuff is cool. So fighting a boss on it makes sense. I guess they wanted to do it and make it a real boss fight and not a fake boss fight where you can't use your stuff. You know.
Well, I think part of it is
So-
that those poison roach trap things were for Nevi. And I think the point was
Yes.
to, sort of in a roundabout way, confirm that the the companion things are a form of Nevi.
Nope, we never get an explanation for what they are.
Imply then.
Yeah, it's certainly implied.
So why did
but
the
if it
Nevi
didn't
attack?
kill the cat outright, though.
So then why do some Nevi attack people then?
Oh,
Because they're evil things.
why do some
But that one's not.
Why do some
evil.
animals eat meat?
Yeah, it
and why
is.
do some animals eat vegetation? And why do some eat both? It's you know.
Well, it's a result of their body structure.
Yeah, well, maybe.
You know, they can
No, we
digest
we,
certain
we,
things.
never really get an explanation for what the
My
Nevi
point
are.
is there can be different types, and they just do different things because that's what they were born with. I do.
Okay.
So yeah, don't worry about the flying enemies unless you have to.
I
get
do
cover
dislike
off
it when you
you,
find yourself
but-
in that situation where there's just an endless stream of projectile orbs showering you, and you can't really get out of it because if you try falling, you'll land on another projectile just below you, and if you try going above, you'll get hit by one that's above. You don't really.
The military's not being useless for once.
Mega Man. Game.
It's Mega Man.
Is this
This is like.
is this gonna be like that guy from what's it called, the Gunvolt
Okay.
games, the asshole guy?
Okay. New Devil May Cry 5 fan theory. The guy in the cloak who was stealing Nero's arm is Mega Man.
Okay, but why?
Well, what? Yeah, I was gonna
Because
say
he
why.
became
Wait.
a multi-dimensional traveler after Mega Man 11, and he made a short stop in the Gravity Rush universe, and then he showed up in Devil May Cry 5 and decided, you know what, life was a lot more convenient when I had two hands, so he stole one of Nero's.
Wait, so hold on a second. What year does Devil May Cry take place in?
No.
Because if it's not 20 XTX, then Mega Man can't be there.
220.
Yeah, but you see, 20 is only 5 years before 20 XDX.
It doesn't
so,
matter. Multi-dimensional
you know.
travel implies time travel because you're traveling through space and time. In theory, if you were able to travel from like one dimension to the other sideways, you could also travel diagonally forward and backward in time when crossing the dimensions. So you could travel to like the Triassic period of the dimension next door if you wanted. I say in theory, but that's just something I pulled out of my ass right now. So who knows?
You see, I thought that you were gonna be like you were quoting Doctor Who or something.
No.
For...
No, it wasn't. Although, well, it doesn't really matter because in Doctor Who's case, it's mostly time travel anyway. I think they do some dimensional travel at one point in one of the seasons, but it's considered a different thing, and it's not something that they're supposed to do. I think it was more of an accident.
There's a female doctor now.
Yeah,
right?
the 13th Doctor
Yes.
is I forget her name. Whitaker, is it? I think the.
Wait, I thought that there weren't supposed to be more than 13 lives.
They retconned that.
Well, they didn't exactly retcon it. They just sort of gave the Doctor an excuse to not be limited by it anymore.
Because we want to keep this
Well, they
franchise going.
kind of had to because the 10th Doctor did something stupid that actually used up one of his regenerations anyway, so he actually would have come up one short by those old rules. It was
Oops.
it was a story element that they didn't really think through at the time, but it sort of shortened the projected lifespan of the entire franchise. So it was a
But you see, I considering that it's Doctor Who, and they have to know that that pedantic nerd types love Doctor Who, so I figure they probably should have known better.
Also,
I
the
guess
thing about the regenerations is that, like, in the old lore surrounding them, it was actually a limit imposed by what's his name, the master of all the Time Lords, the guy who
Master, what's his name?
Rapsilon?
We're not.
Is that his actual
Rapsilon
name?
or something like that. Rassilon.
Oh, we're not.
We're not.
We're not. So we're not in a wrinkle of time where everyone has stupid names just to be confusing.
I honestly thought it was what's his name.
Rassilon imposed this limit on the other Time Lords. I forget why. There was a reason, but yeah, he imposed the limit of 12 regenerations, and it was always implied to be something that could, in theory, be changed. Also, it was also implied that Rassilon was not bound by his own rule. So, it's complicated. A lot of the old Time Lord stuff is wrapped up in outside of series stuff. Like the entire Eighth Doctor's run is novels. Just novels. Novels, because the series was dead at that point. So they wrote books about the Eighth Doctor instead of actually having a season of shows about him, a season of episodes about him.
And there's a lot of Doctor Who stuff that's just flat out gone, right?
Most of the early seasons are
the first two
lost.
Doctors have a lot of missing content because it's that kind of situation that old video game developers were in, where they were just destroying old material that they didn't
Stuff
need anymore. And
to make room for
originally,
new stuff.
the serials were supposed to be broadcast on television and only television. So once they stopped broadcasting them, they didn't need them anymore. It's something that BBC deeply regrets at this point in time, where we have home video and all.
Oh yeah, they could sell that stuff for billions
And it's like
nowadays.
it's like a freaking archaeological dig at this point, where they're finding old Doctor Who film in like abandoned BBC locations and everything. But for the most part, they recreate episodes by like piecing together still frame images and audio from old satellite broadcast data and everything, or something like that. I don't know the specifics of how it works. It's very strange.
Yeah, we save the day.
In any case, when stuff like that happens, suddenly you see a legitimate side to all these people online who are like, we need to preserve our abandonware video games, and games preservation is something we should be thinking about.
I mean, I think we are kind of better off.
We're better off
I think
now
there are a
because
lot.
there's
At least for console stuff, I should say. There's probably tons and tons of PC games that are just lost.
not necessarily
But,
lost. There's tons and tons of PC games that we have, but like getting them to run,
Nothing will work
getting
with
them to
them,
run is a pain in the fucking ass. And it's and a lot of people who want to play them legitimately go out and buy old computers to run them on, because like at best you can emulate them on a virtual machine maybe, but there's always going to be some sort of emulation issue that fucks with certain games, and it's
It's, when you think about that kind of stuff, a lot of it is due to the constant console upgrading that makes it so difficult.
console upgrading and hardware
because
upgrading,
because it's just like, okay, you have to now suddenly think about how are you going to, like, you can't really think about preserving the old games when, it's just like, okay, you can't reasonably expect SNES games to run on a GameCube.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, we don't have to worry about losing television and movie stuff anymore, because we have video files. They're basically unchanging, and if there is some weird video format that's barely compatible with new technology, all you have to do is sort of get what you need to record it, and then record it or export it in the new format, and suddenly it's working again, and you can put it on whatever storage media you want. So that preservation is fine as far as television is concerned. Games present more challenges. Like, we will never know what the original version that Core Design was making for Tomb Raider Anniversary would look like. Because before they put that project in another developer's hands, they wiped all of the data. All of it. We have nothing.
Why?
Well,
'Cause
because at
they're
that
dumb.
point in time, computer storage wasn't quite what it is now. So those,
But they were handing the project off to
they were
somebody
handing
else,
the project
though,
off
right?
to somebody else, but they weren't using core designs material for it.
They didn't just give them the stuff that they had already
That's not how
done.
game development works. Game developers and
Yeah.
publishers get really, really, really possessive about that shit. See Yuji
There's also,
Naka and the Sonic Extreme debacle. But yeah,
There's also we will never have the source code for Kingdom Hearts 1
yeah.
to figure out
So
what was going
at that
on
point
there.
in time, computer storage was not nearly as badass as it is now. So
But at least we have the games, the released games. Like, it's something like,
Yeah.
oh god, how many percent of movies before 1940 we don't have anymore? It's something
Well,
obscene.
we-
like
It's a- it-
50.
we
it's
have
like
the released
80-something
games,
percent.
but in a lot of cases, you still need the hardware or to play them properly because emulation is such an unreliable thing after a certain point. And
Yeah.
and if there's no reliable way to port a game, you're either going to be getting a flawed HD remaster, see Ratchet and Clank, or you're going to have to track down a PlayStation 2 or Model 1 PS3 and play it that way. So yeah, it's troublesome.
Yeah, that's why I am making an effort to hold on to all my old games now. Like, I'm glad I've only ever sold games at a GameStop once, and that was I do regret doing that because I sold away Advance Wars. Oh god, Days of Ruin was the post-apocalyptic one that had the stupid edgy story, I think.
I don't recall. The only systems I don't really have the stuff for anymore is like my Game Boy stuff. But that was because I was a kid and you just leave them in like cupboards and drawers
Yeah,
and
you
crap.
lose. I've lost so many Game Boy Advance games. It's not even funny. Like, I'm honestly really lucky that I still have all my Pokemon cartridges. Granted, none of them work anymore because the batteries are dead.
I was gonna say, do the batteries even work?
No. But you see, that's why people, when Pokemon Gold and Silver came out on the 3DS Virtual Console, people were like, why do you care? Soul Silver and Heart Gold are better versions of those games. And that's arguably true. But just the option to play the game in that form at all was something that I didn't have
Okay.
for a
Okay.
really long time because I couldn't
Okay,
save.
back
you know?
on topic for 0.000.2 fractions of a femtosecond.
And you lost me.
Where's the old guy going and why?
He's going somewhere else and we'll figure out later. But yeah, we were in the final hub area, the fancy city area. Yay.
So where were all the snobby rich people before this?
Yeah.
But
Oh wait,
They're probably
no, they were still around because we had to do main
yeah,
things for them.
apparently they bought out
Yeah.
all the apartments in Poorville, so the poor people were homeless. You know what? That's probably what would actually happen. If all
Isn't that the plot to season 1 of Daredevil?
Kind of. I mean, that's also kind of happening now
Oh,
anyway.
that's
so.
more like
Topical.
that's more like your generic land scheme plot. I was talking about like all the condos and rich people houses in this city vanished at one time, so all the rich people had nothing to do but buy out all the middle class apartments. So they pushed all.
So what's going on now?
Yeah.
Na, 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 na.
Man, why are these millennials killing real estate? Jeez.